I'm Marisa Norcross.
And I'm Dave Freund, and this is The Next Page. Marisa, how are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I am terrific.
Yeah, I bet you are.
Because but when this airs, I will be on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Woohoo. Actually, I'll probably be ending my vacation.
When this airs, you'll be celebrating a very special birthday.
Oh, I will. Oh, my goodness. Yes, the big 6-0.
Yes,
Ooh,
everyone celebrate with us.
Yep. Have a celebration today. Dave is an old codger as of today. So today we're going to talk about building influence.
Mm-hmm.
And, leadership is influence and nothing more, nothing less.
Yep.
So if you want to lead, you have to build influence.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to be influential to people. So when I sent you this, what were your thoughts?
I really enjoyed this piece because I thought it was just like straight to the point. And like you say at the end, it's not rocket science.
Right.
So, it's just like 6 quick things to keep in mind as we're moving through life.
And when you do, you naturally build influence. So Here we go. We're going to, this was one of the interesting ones where in my post I gave all 6. Usually I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I give part and then I give the rest on the podcast. But the readers of my post this morning, they got all 6. Now they won't get all the details. They won't get all of the extra stuff that you add to it, but they'll at least get the concepts. So the first one, be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing worse than a leader who is inconsistent. You can't follow a person if there's nothing predictable about how they are. Consistency in character and demeanor, it builds trust. They need to know when they see you in the morning, what's he or she going to be like?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that we all have great days. Listen, we have bad days. All of us have bad days. But I think one of the ways to look at it is our highs shouldn't be super, super high, and our lows shouldn't be super, super. We should just be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Be human, be real, but just be consistent. If we think about it, the world is so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much uncertainty. Wouldn't it be great if you could feel that when I go to see my team, my leader is that safe harbor, so to speak.
Right.
The place where there's some predictability going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So consistency.
And I think that provides a level of stability for an organization or a team as well. Just to know that, okay, I know what to expect. And
right.
Like you mentioned, the world is so uncertain and things are changing so rapidly. But to know that, okay, this is like a stable part of my day.
Right. Yeah, I like, that stable, I love that, a stable part of my day. And I think if the past year and a half has taught leaders anything, it should be that you can simply be consistent because regardless of what happens, you're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And just present that calmness to your team. So number 1 is to be consistent. Number 2 is employ honest communications. And if we think about it, we're bombarded with forces that want to twist what's said to fit. They find ways to just make it fit the narrative that they're looking to project.
Mm-hmm.
When point is, don't. Like our teams should not look at us and say, I wonder what he means by that.
Right.
And what you just speak it with simple honesty. And one of the things that I think the way I wrote it here was take time to craft your communications, reinforcing what you are saying with enough detail to confirm what you've said.
Mm-hmm. I really like this one. And I think this is something that I've kind of been thinking about recently, is that it's really exhausting I feel like we have to scrutinize everything that we read, see, hear, look at, right? We're bombarded by content.
Right.
And
right.
as consumers of that content, we have to scrutinize it because if, we know that things get twisted, but it is so nice when you don't have to. Like if you think about
Right.
conversations with some of your closest friends or conversations with people you really trust that you know are having honest communications with you,
Yep.
it's like to release that scrutinizing lens that we need to protect ourselves from the content that
Right.
is pummeling us constantly.
Right.
It's so refreshing when you know that you're just receiving honest communication from your leader, from people you work with, from friends, from family, whoever.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's so. It's again, you want to build influence. Be that person that communicates with honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I'm very real. What you see is what you get, and I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm going to be very open with you. I'm going to say things. I'm going to give you enough details so that you can really tell what I'm saying is true.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 was live with transparency. Nobody wants to follow some fictional character. They want to follow people who are real, people who admit when they make mistakes, people who will say, gee, I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know why I said that. I shouldn't have said it. It was wrong, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've talked with leaders who have, just they were stressed in a meeting and they snapped at somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's called being human. Just apologize.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I think is great and people know I'm a huge fan of 360s, but man, do the 360.
Yeah.
Let your team tell you where you are, and then own it.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of fits in with the law of pain in the 15 invaluable laws of growth, where pain causes us to change, and hearing things we don't want to hear is sometimes painful, but it also helps us change. So the best leaders realize that their teams already see their issues, they know when they're struggling, and they own up to it and ask their team for help. Again, that's just living in transparency. Don't fake it. Just be very real.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 was exemplify humility. And I think humility is misunderstood. I think that some people think that being humble is, walking around, kind of looking down and not being vibrant and energetic and engaging. And it's not at all. It's not some fake piety. Humility isn't thinking less of yourself. It's thinking more of other people.
Mm-hmm.
So when I value people, when I think more of other people, it naturally keeps me in the right perspective. Now, I've said this was the one where I had to admit that I was somewhat hypocritical before, but, remember that leadership is never about the leader. It's always about the team. And for those that don't remember, when I realized that I wasn't saying things I should have been saying because I didn't want to be disliked, that was making it all about me and not somebody else, not the other person. Show support for others. Look for ways to be supportive of other people. And if people see that we are interested in them, we're concerned about them, we want to help them, we want to make their life better, that builds influence.
Mm-hmm.
I've often said too, when we look at everybody, we're judging people all the time, but put a number on we're always putting numbers on people's heads, so why not just put a 10 on their head? We may not know what they're a 10 at yet, but they're a 10 because they're a human being,
Mm-hmm.
not a human doing. So, hey, what are you good at? Let me help you. Let me help you figure this stuff out.
Right. Well, and if you're not supporting like your base level, your most valuable asset, then what does that say about everything you're building on top of that? It's going to crumble, right? Like if your foundation isn't solid,
right,
then there you go.
That becomes this really becomes that foundational piece of character.
Mm-hmm.
Am I a person that truly does value other people? And leaders need to remember that people buy into the leader before they buy into the vision
Mm-hmm.
or the mission. And they're looking for people that they can buy into. So if you want, as an organization, if you want to attract the best and the brightest, have people within your organization that are influencers that can really be this attractor to your company. The 6th one, keep your promises.
Mm-hmm.
This is so basic and so fundamental, and yet so rarely lived out to its fullest. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that I never miss something. It doesn't mean that I don't, and that everything I said is always done. But it does mean that if for some reason I missed it, I'm going to own up to it. And I'm going to say, hey, you know what? I am really sorry. I missed this. I forgot about it. Or we didn't get the order that I thought we were going to get. I had a boss once that used to say, it's coming down the pike. It's coming down the pike. And I said to him one time, I said, it must be a really long pike because a lot of times it's not getting here.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think in any way he was being dishonest. I think sometimes he might have been saying things a little bit prematurely.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be the other thing that people need to realize is for you to be able to keep your promises, don't promise too much too early.
Mm-hmm.
Because things change. So that was it. It's 6 key practices. They're simple. I realize this has been really, really short, and maybe that's good for summertime. Maybe summertime people don't want to listen to a long podcast. But it's the simple stuff. It's the simple truth, and if you do it, you will build influence.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think I missed?
I mean, I think we hit a lot of high points there. I think that these are all just 6 really good things to do, regardless of if you're trying to be a better leader or build influence. I think these are just great things to model, right?
Yeah.
I think when I was reading through this, I immediately thought, like, you know, my kids need to see me do this.
Sure.
And I just think it's, you know, like you said, it's short and sweet, but I think if you can walk away with one new idea of something you can do, you'll see results quickly.
Yes.
Things will change. The relationships will
Yes.
change. The way you'll build trust.
Yeah.
And it'll happen quick.
Yeah, absolutely. That is absolutely right. And, you know, I would even say to people, you know, print out the list.
Mm-hmm.
Be consistent. Employ honest communications. Live with transparency. Exemplify humility. Show support for others. And keep your promises. If those could be like 6 golden rules that you do to live your life. And you said, you know, children need to see this in parents. We need to see this in people we're in relationships with. My
Mm-hmm.
wife needs to see this, me living this out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anybody, my grandkids, it is the right way to be. And if you live this out, you will be building influence with people. And when we think about it in life, isn't that what our goal is to be someone who can make other people's lives better, live a life of significance, and make a difference?
Mm-hmm.
And people are just looking for it. And also, people need to start thinking, if I'm going to be following somebody, if I'm going to give my support to a leader, how are they doing in these 6 areas? That might be a big tool to use going forward as we try to pick who our leaders are.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got. So, young lady, I am done.
Any hints for next week?
Yes. Community.
Community, okay.
Community. So we'll just use that as a little bit of tea. Certainly it will be leadership and community.
Mm-hmm.
But community. Maybe this podcast was so short because I'm already in vacation mode.
Yes. Yes.
It could be that I'm looking at all kinds of things that I need to get done. We don't want to make it any longer than it needs to be. So, hey, everybody knows I'm going on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
No, just same old same over here, working on my garden. We're getting ready to start our summer bucket list. I guess by the time this comes out, it'll be probably be starting on that. And just want to remind anyone who's listening today, the day that we release this podcast, that it is David's 60th birthday. Send him an email.
Thanks for the reminder.
dfreund@macny.org if you'd like to send him
Thanks, Marissa.
Birthday. I had to.
Yes.
You have not been shy about it, so I'm not.
I have not. No,
I know you don't care that I've shared your age.
Not at all. 60 years old. Oh, my goodness. How did that happen? But it did.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I'm Dave Freund.
I'm Marissa Norcross.
And this was The Next Page.